a quick video on doing maintenance on your EVOLV Tour XL. In your box you will have gotten a multi-tool. That will be very important to do all of this. We're going to start up top at the handlebars, work our way down and back, and then do the underside. So you want to find any screws, nuts, visible, and tighten those up. Stuff like this may become loose over time. Your brake levers might become loose. Your folding handlebars might come loose over time. I'll show you how to take care of that. Brakes, we're going to start with a 5mm just underneath, one on each side. Just tighten it up. Right here for the buttons is a 3. Just give that a quick tighten. And your handlebars. This is a common thing that'll happen over time with lots of folding. This style, which is the early gen, will come loose. And inside, see right here, there's a little screw. Now you want to screw it out. So this, once folded, will contact the top up here. If you see this angle, this is too much out. I'm going to put it back in just a little bit and try tightening it up. And that's perfect right there. Everything along here, you want to tighten those. And then we'll work our way down. Check your steering post lock. Make sure it latches tightly. There's a screw on either side. Check that those are set in and they're not coming out. Then we'll work our way down to our light. I think that's a 5mm. You want to make sure it's not loose. Sometimes they'll droop over time or go crooked. Tighten up that bottom one and make sure it still points in front of you. We'll work our way down to the front wheel. I believe this is a 17. The other side is a 6. Right in there. You want to hold it, tighten it up. Folding mechanism. So this is a place that needs to be checked every few rides to make sure that nothing is coming loose. If this latches really easily, it will need tightening up. It's normal for you to need a little bit of force to push it into place. So to tighten it up, down here, there's this rubber damper. There's 2 set screws right underneath and 2 screws on the side. You will need a pair of 4mm hex keys just to loosen this a bit so it can move a little. In front, I believe it's a 2. And just tighten it up just a little bit at a time. And you can check by pushing it into place. That's nice and firm. Check it a couple times, just so that the rubber has a chance to compress a bit. And once that's done, then we can lock in both sides. Check these ones here. There's one on either side. This is one that you will need a pair again. This connects from one side to the other. Just one to hold it in place and the other one to tighten. We have all of these 4 screws in the front. You want to tighten those. Check them, see if they're loose. The scooter while riding receives a lot of vibrations, and the screws can and very often do loosen up. You don't want to over tighten these, just hand snug. Okay, and we have 5 screws on the deck. right in the front here. I'm going to check each of those. These are 4mm. Again, just a little bit more than hand snug. There's some underneath the front. We'll come back to that in a minute. We're going to work our way along the sides towards the back here. Same size, 4mm, just a little bit more than hand snug. And onto the rear suspension, which is a 15, pardon me, a 13, and a 5. Just tighten that nut. Snug it up if it is coming loose. You do not want to over tighten a lot of these because this is a smaller vehicle. This is not a large car. Everything's designed for a little bit less torque. Check the mudguard screws, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Check that they aren't coming loose, and if they are, give them a little snug up. Okay, you can work your way to the side. That's a 5. That one's good. And same on the other side. That one's good. The rear axle, you want to use an 18. It's an 18 on this one. It may be a slightly different size. Check before getting all the tools. The other side will need an adjustable wrench or an open end 18 because this side has the motor cable. So you need to be able to reach around the cable and not pinch it while tightening. Okay, and we're going to flip the vehicle over now and take a look at everything underneath. So this is the front. We've already gone through these ones here. We're going to work away these ones here. 4mm, just like the top. And now these set screws, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 on each side. They hold the front and rear lights and the side acrylic tube in place. These are, I believe, 2.5. These ones you do not want to tighten too much. Because again, they are delicate screws. Some of them are going into plastics and they will just eat away if you tighten them too much. Okay, and we'll do these rear ones as well. There's these ones, and there's 2 more here. These are mirrored on the other side, but the other side has a kickstand. And so you want to tighten that up because that's a very common use part. You use the kickstand almost every time you ride. Okay, going back to the vehicle, now in the upright position, we need to tighten here. This is a 5. There's 1 here, and there's 2 coming in from the other side. Tighten those. Okay. And we can also do the wheel. These are 5s as well. You can hold the wheel in place or you can engage the brakes. Okay. And then you've got the rear wheel and motor. So now there's motor cap screws on both sides. The other side will be a little difficult to reach just because of the disc being in the way. But if you happen to have the wheel off doing a tire change or for any other reason, that would be a great time to just tighten these up. And then on this side as well, we've also got the rim screws. These are holding the rim to the motor hub. All of these are 4mm hex. Okay. while we're on the wheels and the tires, tire pressure. You want to check that your tires are at the correct pressure. You should do this every couple rides, once a week. So you're looking for 45 to 55 PSI. So that's roughly 40, 43. What we use in the shop, we've got a portable electric pump. Hook it up. It's always good to overfill just a little bit so that when you remove any lost tire or any lost air, won't be detrimental. That pump, you can preload the PSI and it'll stop whenever you need it to. While you're at the tires, check your rubber. This is a tire that's very worn down. If your tire's in this condition, it's worn down flat, you're losing traction, you run the risk of higher flats. You should get this replaced very soon. It's a lot thinner in the center, so it's more dangerous to ride on. The last point of interest is your brakes. Brakes do stretch out over time. The brake pads wear down, and so the adjustments that were done when you first bought the scooter are going to need to be updated over time. Starting in the rear, if your brakes are squishy, you're finding you're not stopping fast enough, there are a couple adjustments you can do. This black dial here, you can turn it counterclockwise to do small adjustments. Just a couple turns will give you a couple degrees of the pad being closer to the disc. If you need anything more, you're going to need your multi-tool, and you're going to remove some of the slack on the cable. Loosen it up, pull it tighter, and then tighten it up. If you've never adjusted your brakes, you'll notice that the bend or the kink in the cable will be further away from that point where it was first pinched. And then you'll know that you have moved it. Make sure it's tight enough. Test your brakes. You want to do a stand test as well as just a short ride test using only that brake so that you know if the adjustment's correct or not. Moving to the front, very similar. You have a metal dial here instead of a plastic one. Again, small adjustments for that. If you need to make anything larger, using a 5mm hex key, loosen it up, pull the cable out, move it, and then tighten it up. Access on this one, you can also go from behind. You can use a long 5mm and small turn. There's a small set screw in there you want to loosen up. You've already pre-loosened it. Small turns, just move it until you hear the pad contacting the disc. I'm going to back it off. Now that's where we want it to be. Tighten up that set screw. Give it a stand test, give it a ride test, and that should be good to go.